Hello, I'm Mike Guy, editorial director of Road and Track. Welcome to Inside Track, a series of virtual conversations and demonstrations for life on and off the road. In August, we'll be launching a new luxury lifestyle brand called R&T. As part of that, we'll be rolling out a series of memberships, benefits, and both virtual and live events to bring our community even closer together. Make sure you've signed up for the Road and Track newsletter and follow us on Instagram for more info. I'm very lucky today to be in the company of Chef David Burke. Chef is going to teach me a thing or two in the kitchen and abuse me a little bit, perhaps. Chef Burke is considered a leading pioneer in American cooking, and he was executive chef of the legendary River Cafe when he was just 26 years old and has earned a coveted 3-star New York Times review while at the River Cafe. Chef, welcome to Road and Track's Inside Track.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you for coming.
At home.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, since we're all quarantined, what have you been cooking anyway?
You know, I've never really cooked at home, and most chefs probably don't cook at home unless they have kids or barbecue on the weekends. But so I have a new home. I moved in August, so I've got to break it in over the last couple months, and I've been making videos, educational and humorous, with a puppet. And they're at Chef David Burke on Instagram, and his name is Lefto. And he's usually my left hand, and he makes dishes with my leftovers. So awesome. He's gotten a couple of here he is. Oh, look at this. Lefto. Anyway, so he's quite a wise guy. But, so he's my roommate. So, So him and I have been whipping up a storm, and I've learned a lot because I didn't realize how hard it was to cook at home because you got to do everything yourself. And I'm only doing dinners with videos, but I got to clean and I got to shop, and then I got to wash all the cloths and put, anyway. So my hat's off to everyone that amateur cooks at home because it's a lot harder than I thought. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the home, and I'm enjoying the creativity and the using of everything I buy. I make, because of my knowledge, I can turn scraps into something really cool. So
it's kind of fascinating because most of people I know are now stuck at home and they're so sick of cooking because they've been cooking 3 meals a day and cleaning up 3 meals a day.
Yeah, and that gets fatiguing. Yeah,
it does. It does. I mean, for amateurs, we've run out of ideas. I mean,
right.
It's hard to be innovative if you don't really know what you're doing, unless you're making mistakes.
And it becomes work. If you don't know what you're doing, it becomes work. And,
right.
3 meals a day is a lot. I've actually lost weight eating at home because I don't pick. Luckily, the kitchen's spacious enough where I can cook like I'm in a restaurant a little bit.
Yeah.
But I haven't used the oven, and I haven't used an appliance, which I've done it.
Wow.
I don't know how to turn the oven on yet. I just moved there.
Everybody's baking bread right now, according to Instagram. So I'm glad that you're not participating in that.
No, I don't. I went to bread school and pastry school in Paris many years ago. Love baking bread, but I don't want to do it at home. I don't want to eat it.
Yeah. So what are we going to be cooking today?
Today we're going to make when I thought about tracks and cars and automobiles, I said, let's do something a little smoky and oily and loud, and I left the tattoo part out because I think of that when I was young with race cars. But so we're going to do a black pepper, and I think of black like on the skids on the highways and rubber. So we're going to do a black peppercorn steak, seared, smoky rosemary oil, or oily, hot rosemary oil with salt, with smoky bacon, and vegetable home fries. And I sneak in a little serrano pepper, which isn't in the recipe, but I just realized because we need a little more heat.
You Shanghai'd me. I don't have serrano peppers around here.
I know. So I couldn't help can't follow a recipe.
So what do we do first? How do we begin this?
First thing is to get the bacon cooked. This is 8 strips of bacon cut into quarters. So you got nice nuggets, on pieces. The fat I'll save. Basically, that's ready.
Yeah.
And I have 2 great sirloins here. These are prime dry-aged sirloins. You can use any sirloin. You can use a fillet, a skirt steak. And we're going to season this with lots of black pepper and salt. I diced some mushrooms, and I got some vegetables: broccoli, onion, peppers, mushrooms. So you're gonna turn on your burners. Right now, we're gonna do the whole meal. Once you cook this, it goes off the stove. You can reserve it. Then you'll need 2 saute pans.
I have the bacon all cooked, and I got the grease all set aside.
So then you need to heat up 2 saute pans.
All right, I got the fire. The fires are lit.
So I have olive oil. You can use sunflower oil or peanut oil or canola. All right, so now our oil's pretty hot. All right, sirloins are here. Salt, generous amount of salt and pepper. Lots of pepper. Now you want to try and get peppercorns that are a little coarser, like coming out of here. You know, they got a good grind on them. And you press the coarse grind peppercorn into the steak. All right, now I get the salt and pepper. Now I have a heavier gauge pan here on the left of me. And that's the one I'm going to put the steaks in.
Okay.
Right? Steak goes in the pan. Right. Steak down. That's like whiskey down. You know what whiskey down means?
Yes, I do.
All right. So you're a diner guy then, right?
Yeah. I mean, everybody who spends any time in Jersey knows.
Yeah.
Are you in Jersey now?
I'm in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey.
Let me ask you something while we're cooking.
Yeah.
What was your first car?
My first car.
Yeah.
I had my first car 6 miles away from here, off of Route 36 in Hazlet, New Jersey, and it was a green Beetle, a Buzz, Volkswagen.
Yeah.
That was given to me by my neighbor. Given to me as a gift. It lasted 10 days. And then I had a green Gremlin.
Whoa.
Remember the Gremlin?
Of course I remember the Gremlin.
The Gremlin, I tell you what, I sideswiped a convent with the Gremlin. I went through a motor in the front window, ran over a fire hydrant that was hidden in the snowbank, and that thing still kept going.
Let me just back up to the convent for a second.
Yeah. Yes, I got caught, too, on the convent one.
Were you forgiven?
1,000 Hail Marys, 1,000 Our Fathers, yeah. And I had to fix the shingles on the house.
I accidentally burned down part of a church during Sunday school, so I'm right with you.
You topped me. You got it. You topped the convent store. Everybody knew that green Gremlin because it was like a getaway car.
All right, back to the cooking.
I turned my steak over. You can see, it's got a nice crust on it. I'm on high heat still. There's a little bit of moisture in the pan from the juice of the steak, but that'll evaporate. Now, home fries.
Yes.
First thing you want to cook with the home fries is the potatoes. You got to get it hot enough where they won't stick. This is a David Burke pan. Nice plug. And it's a non-stick one, and it's deep. So for the home fries, I got the potatoes in. And I'm going to let that fry a little bit.
Okay.
Steak is cooking.
The David Burke pan, tell me about that. I'm actually curious about your cutlery and stuff.
Kitchenware that's sold at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods. Several different pots and pans, utensils. They're very good for home use. We do use them in the restaurant sometimes. It just goes to show you that they hold up. They're not on the most expensive line. They're middle price-wise. But for home use, I find, and I've been using them. I'm cooking at home. I like them.
What do you use for a knife? Do you have like a preferred knife that you use?
I have a bunch of knives over here. I do not have a preferred knife. We have our own little knives for the restaurant. But I use, I like a sharp knife. And if you can buy the best knife in the world, if you don't sharpen it, it doesn't matter. So my steak now, I'm going to turn it over again because I got it brown. And now I'll probably just do that one more time. One trick for a sirloin, if you do like fat, you see this strip, if you want, you can turn it on its side and render that out a little bit.
Yeah.
And get it nice and crispy if you want. Otherwise, you just eat around it. But do you see the fat here is not burnt, which is good. Because we're going to make our rosemary oil in that. We're going to add a little more fat and make the rosemary oil. So it's important that I lower it a little bit now so I don't burn it. I can add a little bit of fresh oil. I also save, when I buy sirloin or steak, I cut the fat off and I melt it down and I cook with that.
Once you get out of quarantine, once this sort of passes a little bit, what's the first restaurant experience you're looking forward to?
It depends. I'm looking forward. I want to go to a beautiful restaurant on a date.
Yeah.
I'm quarantined. And I'm probably one of the better ones in New York City. Or something outside on the water on the Jersey Shore. And which I have one, but I want to get served and I want to enjoy it and I want to be thankful for hopefully this thing passing and starting to move forward and get back to normal.
I live in Brooklyn and I'm in sort of a culinary center in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And everything's shut down. We got some restaurants running takeout, but the worry is that these guys aren't going to be able to open back up again. Like, what's the landscape going to look like at the end of this?
Well, it depends on everyone's different. It depends on your financial position when you close, your business when you close, whether you got support from the government, and your desire to get back in it and push the wheelbarrow up the hill again. One of the things that's true in the restaurant industry is when you're busy, when you're really busy, you got to work hard. But when you're quiet, you got to work harder because the economics don't add up. So the salaried people, the owners, when you're not as busy, you got to work more.
Yeah.
So these steaks look good. I don't know how your steaks looking, Mike.
They're looking pretty good. I got to say, I'm pretty happy.
There. I think we're almost cooked. Mine are cooked. So we're going to rest them a little bit now.
Okay.
My potatoes are brown. And and let's take a look at the home fries now. Steak is aside. The home fries, potatoes are browning, so they're almost cooked. So I'm going to take my bacon fat and add it to my potato. And now we're frying. The potatoes are pretty much cooked. So now we're going to add the onions and the peppers and the broccoli.
This is looking great. My apartment smells amazing, and all my quarantine neighbors in my building are smelling this right now, and it's kind of making me feel good that their day isn't quite as dull as it probably was before.
You got to share, man.
You got to share.
And this is a hot pepper. I'm just going to throw it in there whole because you don't have one. And
That's
I'm going to let it sweat a little bit. So now you're going to make sure the potatoes are cooked through. Onions and peppers will sweat nicely. Broccoli will steam in its own juices here. And we got to add seasoning to that. Now, because there's bacon fat here, you won't need as much salt.
Okay.
But we have plenty of pepper on the steak, so you don't need as much pepper. So, you got to taste these home fries and adjust. And this is a great dish to add an egg to. Home fries,
really?
And eggs. This is a brunch dish or something. Yeah. I got to add a little garlic.
Yeah, I got garlic.
And then the butter is to add into these home fries at the end to soften them up and make them taste like, you want you to say, what exit did I have those home fries at in Jersey?
You ever been to Englishtown Raceway in Jersey?
I have been as a youngster, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were seeing?
I don't remember. Big cars with big wheels, I think. Wall Township, Englishtown Raceway. There was a guy that grew up in my town named Ray Everham.
Oh, yeah, I know Ray.
He's from Hazlitt. He's a little older than me, but I knew his little brother way back when. But my business manager knows him in Charlotte because my business manager does a lot of work with NASCAR. So we're opening in Charlotte 2 restaurants in the next couple of months. So I'm sure I'll be at the raceways down there in the near future. How's your potatoes?
They're good. We're good. I'm brown. They're cooking.
Now they'll cook a little more when you add everything else, and you'll brown them for the caramelization flavor. Once you add the mushrooms up, they'll soften up because of the water.
Yeah. Okay.
And then if you want, you can keep cooking the water out and get them brown again. But I prefer to eat them more like hash brown, like soft and crispy and soft.
Yeah. Let me ask you something while we have a second. Tell us about Feed the Heroes. It's something that really attracted us to getting in touch with you other than You being you,
Feed the hero. Well, when the pandemic, normally restaurateurs and chefs, whether it be 9/11, Sandy, any other crisis, that the ones at least on the East Coast, we're pretty much able, willing, and wanting to help because we have food, we have labor, and we have passion, and people need food. But in this case, so we started out that way. We emptied our fridges, this and that, and then we realized we don't have cash flow, and we don't have, but we still have the desire to help, and we have the manpower, and we have the kitchen. So we went out and started raising money on a platform called Feed the Heroes, so people could donate money, so we could help make the sandwiches for the hospitals, the first responders, and the healthcare workers, and some of the restaurant employees that were not receiving unemployment. And also putting some of our employees back to work to make 600-700 sandwiches a day or meals a day. And it's been working out pretty well. So we did it in Jersey, Riverview Hospital. We did it up in South Orange. We did hospitals in Newark and Livingston, Barnabas, and up in Englewood Hospital in Hackensack, Meridian, and also on the Upper East Side. And we continue to do so. So.
I mean, it's going to be a long
We did
slog.
something with a homeless shelter called Eva in Patterson, and people reach out to us now, not only to give us money, but also people reach out and say, "Can you help feed us one day this week?"
Yeah,
well, that's good, and our staff's happy to get. It's a slow walk back. It keeps our engines warmed up and greased and ready to hit the race again.
Yeah.
My home fries are ready.
Mine are done, man. I'm good.
All right, well, and now you're going to add the bacon to the home fries.
I can't.
And then we can plate our dishes if you like.
There was a recipe that I've been trying to track down. There's a famous race car driver named Juan Fangio. He's probably the best race car driver of all time. He's an Argentinian.
Okay.
And this dish is really reminiscent of a dish he used to cook. The recipe is lost to history. Nobody knows what it is, but Argentinians love their beef, and so he would grill a nice piece of beef with a little bit of mixed vegetables before every race.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a history of racing and cooking.
Well, what about that? Sure, there's a lot of tailgating too with NASCAR, right?
NASCAR. I mean, there's the thing about racing is there's a lot of eating, but none of them are near culinary centers. So you have like Sebring and Daytona and Nürburgring in Germany, and so the tailgating, it's not exactly a sophisticated fare.
Well, we're gonna give them some tips. You can take some of that very, very humble food and elevate it really quickly,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, some of the retired guys, like Mario Andretti, has a vineyard. He's got a whole set of wines. I mean, a lot of his contemporaries, the older dudes, they get into making wine and different spirits that are actually our first issue of R&T, which is racing, car culture, and everything. But also, as we've shown here, is also about other elements of lifestyle. We're going to be focusing on a bunch of those wines. I don't know if you ever tried anything from the Andretti vineyards.
No, I have not. I wouldn't mind, though. I wouldn't mind. So now the next move is to add the bacon to the home fries.
I'm there.
All right, and in she goes. And then I'm gonna keep the bacon pan, turn it on with a little bit of oil, and I'm gonna make my crispy rosemary oil for the steak. So now the bacon home fries, I'm gonna put it on the plate. I'm gonna use this little platter and do it more family style, and I'm gonna slice the steak. So,
okay. All right, tell me what the oil for the rosemary. What kind of oil are you putting in?
I'm going to use olive oil, and I would use extra virgin if you want. Yeah. I also have a little bit of bacon fat. This is in the bacon pan I'm going to use, or this beef pan. Yeah. If your steak pan is still pretty good.
I'm using the steak pan.
So, and I'm going to add. So I'll show you how we're going to do this. Rosemary. Okay. Don't be cheap. Put it right in there. Let's get it toasty. It's a delicious. We're going to fry that a little bit.
All right.
And we're going to scrape up all of that little brownie thing, what they call the fond, F-O-N-D, the bottom of the pan, when you get the pan dripping. And that we want to put. That's when you deglaze with wine. All of that goodies come up.
What do you drive now, by the way?
I drive a Range Rover.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
It's a Sport.
Well, that's a good
Range
one.
Rover Sport. I've had a couple of them. I've had Beamers, Mercedes, Jaguars, Jeeps, and I think, a Cadillac.
You got some good taste in cars.
So I sliced my steak. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm doing the fat off. A little bit of fat on this side. Just took it off and over here because if you're slicing, you're probably sharing, and you don't want to give someone the bum piece.
I like the Range Rover out of that crew.
Yeah, the Range Rover I like. It's my, I think, second or third one. And I do like it. I have a 15, so it's the older. It's the model that's a little higher off the ground and a little boxy still.
Yeah,
I like that.
What is it with chefs and cars? There seems to be like an affinity there.
Well, I think we like high-performance vehicles that are sexy like our food and that reliable. So what I'm doing here is the fat I trimmed off, I'm throwing it right back in that oil.
Oh.
Just to render it up and get a little more flavor in the oil. So I got my steak on the one side here.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to take the other sirloin and do the same thing on the outer banks of the pan or on the plate this way. And now if I did have an egg or two, I'd put them right, 2 poached eggs here. Forget about it.
Forget about it. You are in Jersey.
Every diner in Jersey be calling. And again, what you want to do with the oil, see, we're doing that rosemary oil. I'm going to throw a little bit of butter, and because butter is beautiful.
You're throwing it in the oil? Or you?
Yeah, it doesn't say that in the recipe, but I'm a rule breaker.
Amen.
And even though there's a little bacon fat, you need a little bit of salt on this meat. Always salt your meat after you slice it.
Why is that?
Because the center's not seasoned.
Yeah. And
that's where the water in the meat is, and then you want to make sure that pops on. And a lot of the seasoning on the outer side of the steak falls off. If it's a little salty, but not too salty, they drink more.
Yeah.
So we like that. So you see I got the fried rosemary oil with the beef fat.
Yeah.
And a little bit of butter.
And what are you doing with that?
This I'm going to pour over my steak, sizzling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Wow, that smells good.
This is good stuff.
And if there was 2 poached eggs, I'd hit the fat right on the eggs and fry the eggs.
All right.
So there's our smoke,
poached eggs.
There's our oil, there's our screech. And we're leaving this little tail, this fat, we're leaving that fat in the dust.
God, this looks good. This looks really good.
I don't know what the camera crew's eating, but I got my lunch.
Now I don't have to cook for my kids tonight.
Good steak.
All right, this is good stuff.
This with some vegetables or salad. This is a great great dinner. I would serve a nice salad with this.
Yours looks nothing like mine, but I'm happy whatever happened. Yeah, thanks very much.
Yours has a nice personality, I'm sure.
Thank you very much. This is great.
Right.
I do my food like myself. His a great personality.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in again. We're super appreciative to have Chef Burke.
Thanks for the invitation, and I hope to see you guys soon.